Geordie Journo's back at St James's Park, talking about a win. Newcastle United, you're happy. You're happy.
I am really happy.
With Eddie Howe's hot seat, which thankfully was not too hot today, because great win for Newcastle United, and Eddie Howe spoke well after the game. Great response from the Brentford defeat, and I thought, to a man, Newcastle made light work of it in the end against a very poor Leicester side, which I'm sure we'll get onto, but individually and collectively Newcastle very much responded to a difficult weekend last weekend as well as they could have done so.
Total dominance, wasn't it? Total dominance. Martin Dubravka came in today and was nothing more than a spectator. I think than he
wasn't it? Like deck chairs if it was nice weather.
Yeah,
you said 10 out of 10, he didn't put a foot wrong.
How could you take even a half mark off Martin Dubravka's? Everything he did, even though it was very little, was perfect.
Yeah. I mean, there was a lot of talk around him coming into the team, but he wasn't tested all day. I think it took until about the 66th minute for his first save or something.
It's precise.
I think, I'm trying to remember his player ratings, is what number I wrote down, but did he make any other saves after that? I can't remember.
He made one claim.
Yeah, one save. So when your goalkeeper is as quiet as him, it's usually a good afternoon. But having said that as well, staying with the back line, I thought Dan Burn was very, very good. Very, very good. A brick wall, I call them. Sweeped up everything at the back. Really very good. Could have scored. Had a couple of headers in the first half, but was alert defensively. Jamie Vardy's pacing behind, albeit he never got a sniff, the 38-year-old, but Dan Burn was alert.
Got outpaced by Dan Burn at one point.
He did, in the first half.
He's not quick anymore, is he? He's still
been in form of late.
Oh, he has,
But yeah, the 30-year-old didn't get a sniff really, and he was dragged off midway through the second half. But no, you look at the forward areas. Of course, I think the standout for me was probably Alexander Isak. It felt like in the first half he was trying to do too much himself. Obviously missed a great opportunity, but was always involved in everything. Great assist for Jacob Murphy's fourth goal. Right place, right time for his goal. So he was a standout in the front line for me. Anthony Gordon, I thought we've probably seen more than improved display. Actually, I thought he was one of Newcastle's standouts today. Really clever with his set pieces in terms of the short corner in the first half, and then obviously the second goal. So
I think
lots of.
I think that's really important you bring that point up, because I thought that was one thing that the team's been criticised for in recent times was a lack of creativity.
It wasn't.
In that respect, that did actually show a lot of creativity.
Innovation was there, and
just I want to see it every week. Like, try things differently, do things differently, and they did today. And a lot of credit has to go to the coaches and the players and all that.
Lewis Hull spoke about how he'd been working with Jason Tyndall on that routine that led to the second goal in particular.
It wasn't long ago that I remember I said he had in a press conference, this time I did get the words out when I was speaking, about there was 50 corners after the Chelsea defeat where they hadn't scored a goal.
Right.
Whereas today they've run and scored from a corner, and then also there's a bit of innovation from another set piece in terms of a free kick.
But they had more as well where they nearly scored from there. I thought most set pieces they had that actually tried something. You went once, there's no players in the box.
There's 3 players in the box.
They played it short, and it ended up creating half a chance for Newcastle. So it was good to see that change, because, like Jordan said a month ago, there was possibly big questions asked.
Feels like product placement.
It's time for the sponsors. Time for the sponsors.
Geordie Journos are not sponsored by Red Bull, but the club obviously is sponsored by Red Bull.
It's not on the board behind it.
It's not on the board.
The official energy partner.
Who do sponsor Geordie Journos, Liam?
So let's get the T's and C's before I have my say on things. Of course, Red Bull, if there are any energy drink suppliers out there who do want to sponsor the Geordie Journos,
how about come on Wednesday night?
Details will be below. It's not on Red Bull though, is it? I don't like any energy drinks. I just picked up because they do sponsor Newcastle, and there's cans everywhere. It's like there's can stops, isn't there? Where you can pick up your Red Bull here.
Red Bull is easier to get than water.
They hide the water we don't in the fridge.
Is it?
Well, I'm saying now.
Oh, yeah. I thought I was going to come up with something about.
No.
If you're an opposition reporter coming here, you literally can't find the water because it's hidden behind where the sink or and the wash dishes.
You have to ask for it. It is not readily.
I trust your worldly knowledge, Dom, right? And your stats so much. I thought you were going to come up with some kind of it's more available to countries in poverty and things like that. They can actually get a can of Red Bull better than running water.
No. I'm saying in this room and press area that we're in, Red Bull is more ready.
Because Coca-Cola is like the most drank drink in the world. I thought you were going to come up with some kind of Red Bull thing. We've been to the home of Red Bull as well before.
Salzburg. Yeah.
We went to Salzburg, spent some time there. I've been twice. I wouldn't go back. Lovely place, but I'm fed up with it. Right.
Yes.
Sponsors. You all know we've got 2 proud sponsors of the Geordie Journos, and of course they will be on your screen now. Mitigate transforms workplace mental health, mitigating legal risks, reducing absenteeism and boosting productivity, delivering up to £9 ROI per £1 invested. Book your free demo today if you need any of the details. They are below. They are proud sponsors of the Geordie Journos, all of our content, and of course Forever's Financial Planning. The OG sponsors have been on virtually since day one. Of course, if you need any bespoke financial advice, anything to do with pensions, do get in touch with Charlie at Four Rivers. All the details will be below. If you like what we do, give it a like, comment, share, subscribe, click the bell, whatever you need to do. And of course, there's super thanks as well if you feel like you want to donate this Christmas to the Geordie Journos Christmas pot. Doesn't really. Well, we wouldn't spend it on that, would we? No, it would just go on improving the channel as we always try to do, and we hope that our product does get better and better. Right? My thoughts on we have got a light. We've got a very good mic, very expensive that you both try and lose all the time. But we do have a very expensive mic and a lovely tripod provided by your lovely other half.
Yes,
very kind. Anyway, waffle away. Right? I think my views on that. I think it was really positive. I think there's lots of positives to take from it. I think the one thing that I really got from it was nice to see Newcastle United in a free-flowing form. It was nice to see them taking chances, creating chances, and just instilling a little bit of that, just giving everyone a reminder of they can do it against teams. They can go and beat teams, can score goals, can create chances. Because there hasn't been a whole lot of games like that this season. The 2 seasons previous were littered with games like this, where most teams in the bottom half of the Premier League would turn up here and walking away with four goals every week. And there hasn't been a lot of that for quite some time. So I was happily reminded of it. The caveat to that, what I would say is, I struggle to think of many, if any, teams turn up at St James's Park and putting a worse performance in as an opposition than what I've seen from Leicester today. And that doesn't take anything away from Newcastle United, even though it might seem like it does, because you still have to take your chances, you still have to win, you still have to score goals, you still have to do what you have to do, and Newcastle did that perfectly, and they deserve a lot of credit for that. But I thought Leicester was shambolic. I thought it was one of the worst teams I've seen, and probably Newcastle will struggle to have I've not seen the last 20 years an easier game than that here at St James's Park in the Premier League, and I think they might go another 20 before you get one like it. I thought they were really poor. But again, that's not meant in any way to take the shine off what Newcastle had to do, because there's been teams come here and play poorly and walk away with points. So they had to go and win this game, and that sort of marries into the wider context and the picture around the football club as well. Is that they felt like some pressure building. They felt like something. They had to go and get a result. It wasn't a guaranteed result. They had to go and win, and they did. They went and did it emphatically, and it takes you into a Carabao Cup quarter-final where, again, that same pressure remains. They have to go and win. If you don't win, it flips the season around again. All of a sudden, you then go to Ipswich the week after saying, this is must-win now, and we've been into games like where Brentford felt must-win. It's just...
I think today was a must-win.
Yeah,
I do. Yeah,
I think so.
I think it was so.
Two wins in 12 looks bad against the newly promoted team at home. After the Brentford game, it's bouncing back from that Brentford game. I think had Newcastle won 1-0 today and it been a scrappy game, it would have papered over cracks. I think today was a reminder. I think what you said, Liam, it went back to previous seasons, but I think in some ways it was different to those games, because we had a lot of games in that 22-23 season in particular where you went, Newcastle won 3 or 4-0 today, how? Whereas today it was 4-0 going on 8-0. Like, Newcastle Jacob Murphy could have scored 4 goals, Alexander Isak could have scored a hat-trick, and Newcastle 4-0 was, they had an expected goals of about above 4 type thing, not to go down that route too much, but it was 4-0 was the absolute least Newcastle deserved from this game. I thought that's how convincing it was, and 1-0 at half time was the big negative, was the fact it was only 1-0.
It was funny at half time because it was one of those where I was in here talking to Joe Buck of the Shears Gazette. We were chatting and he was worried. He was like, if they get a corner, if they have a break, whatever, and it was one of those. But I mean, Leicester didn't even threaten. Like, the only way Newcastle would have really spoilt this game for themselves would have been individual errors. But the memories of Brentford were very much in everybody's mind, weren't they?
You're going to see a magical light appear here.
Yeah, maybe. It's Mark Cannon of the football club may well. Are you turning the lights on for Mark or not? No.
Not the assist we were hoping for.
No. We didn't know if you were going to turn the lights on or off.
Get out.
Yeah. We weren't sure whether we were going to get the lights on or off. I got to get kicked out there, but no. We carry on. What was I saying? I don't know what I was talking about.
Well, Newcastle.
Welcome to the club. Trailer 40. You've lost a trailer. Welcome to the
club. Sorry. It's happened. See you.
See you,
mate. Right. No, I think if I'm going to go, you talked about Dan Burn. I'm going to go a little bit to his left for my standout for the day.
No, I can't disagree. Who are you going to say?
Lewis Hall.
Yeah, he was outstanding.
Great.
I think he's an outstanding footballer.
Yeah.
When he's added that defensive element to his game, the attacking threat that he adds down the left, his delivery, he's got some engine on him. He's up and down that left hand side, forward runs. I mean, he would probably be the most promising fullback in world football if he had a couple of little elements. I mean, if he was an inch or two taller or a yard or two quicker, you'd literally be saying he is elite. But he doesn't need it because technically he's brilliant. And like I say, when he's added that defensive element to his game where he doesn't get caught out as much, outstanding. I think further forward, I thought Bruno had a really good game. I know we disagreed with this. I thought Bruno was excellent, but I would say I'm a big fan of everything he does. And I think the crowd really resonated with that. They really thought he had a good game, the way he got sort of clapped around the pitch after he was taken off. Yeah. And I thought Isak, I just think Gordon was good, but I think Isak, when he's in that kind of mindset of with the ball at his feet in tight areas, and it doesn't always come off for him, but the panic it instills in central defenders who are now looking at their feet and he's going that way and that way and that way, it would be impossible to defend against. There are very few footballers like him in world football, and we just need to cherish players like that as much as we possibly can, because him in that kind of form is excellent. And I'm so happy he got a goal. He could have had a hat-trick today, but such is the life of a striker. You're not going to score them all. Leicester though, I've not seen, like I said it on. Did I say it on the live?
Possibly, yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember the lad who the left back was. I can't remember his name.
Christiansen.
Right, he's the worst player I've seen at the Premier League football I've seen at this stadium this season. Worst.
Oh, that's fair.
The worst player I've seen. I think Jarrell Quansah was top of the list. Not as a player, I do rate him as a player. I think he's decent.
Out of position, wasn't he?
But he was playing out of position, so I'm going to give him the caveat of that. But worst performance was Quansah. He's just totally taken it. That's a cherry on the top of the day from that lad today. I thought he was woeful. He did not belong in the Premier League. Looking at him like that, he might have just had the worst off day ever. I don't watch Leicester, I'm not going to lie. He might have been brilliant all season, but wow, that was a performance for the ages.
You think about how much space Jacob Murphy had down that right hand side.
Oh, mate.
Like he had the freedom of St James's Park.
Jacob Murphy could have had 6 today.
I know. Jacob Murphy probably objectively will be slightly disappointed with his not performance, because he scored twice, but the fact he's scored 2 goals and probably went, could have maybe scored a few more, and like you were saying, he hasn't had necessarily the best of games as well.
But it was hard. It was hard to have a bad game because he was given so much time and space. Yeah. The lad was never closer than 30 yards to Jacob Murphy. Maybe it was the system or the way they played or the way they tried to balance it and shut out the things on the other side. But wow, like Murphy had 40 yards to run into every time. Or a shot on goal every single time. It was easy. Tried it with his left foot in the first half, then scored. Then he had about 3 or 4 in the second half where he was clean through. That was one of the worst performances I've ever seen from a player at St James's Park. The worst this season. You know I like me silly things like that at times. He is top of the list. He's top of the pile.
Okay.
Yeah, top of the pile.
Which is funny because your former Leicester City hitman was Sucha? No, not soy.
Soyuncu. So, I don't know if we ever got. Did we ever do a video with mentioning Soyuncu?
No, but you made it pretty clear. You did not rate him as a footballer.
We used to have a thing among the Joy Jones before we became a YouTube channel where we would have Liam Kennedy's Kaglar Soyuncu 11. We used to do this off screen, so do let me know in the comments if who you want to add to the Kaglar Soyuncu 11. It was the worst players that you've seen that season, and that lad, what was it, Christiansen? He's a shoe-in at left back. He's in. Yeah. He's in the worst 11 of the Premier League, in my opinion. Do let us know what your worst 11. That's quite a good one for engagement. Like, that'd be interesting to see what you guys say. But I always used to every year we would do a worst 11, and Soyuncu was the first name on the team sheet for me.
Another Leicester player.
Was there anyone else?
Faze.
Wout-Faes.
Wout-Faes. I think he was in, wasn't he?
He was at one point.
Probably. I'm not a fan of Leicester defenders. I mean, look.
He was like his replacement, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think I'm going to be honest. There could be a couple of those midfielders in there as well. Chowdhury and Oliver Skip were awful as well. So they're probably up there. But we might even put a worst 11 together towards the end of the season for a bit of fun. But do let me know who would go into your Soyuncu 11. People's not going to really know what that is, but that's what we do. Yeah, so we'll move on now, and it's obviously the Cup in the week. Does he make changes? Does he not make changes? Do you think he's got options to make changes?
Let's see.
It's a busy week, isn't it, with Ipswich at the weekend?
Dubravka plays.
Joe Linton probably plays because he's banned for the Ipswich game, and Sean Longstaff is banned for the Brentford game. So, with it, how suspensions work. Yeah. Yellow cards.
Oh, is he?
You look puzzled.
I didn't realise. I was trying to work out
two yellow cards.
Okay.
As I explained on the live, yellow cards don't carry over in different competitions.
Yeah, I remember
you are banned for the next game in that competition.
So there's no Longstaff. So the midfield stays the same, probably.
Tonali played a full game. I don't think you read too much into that.
Joe Willock probably plays on Wednesday. He was one of the ones I thought probably comes back in.
Has been injured though.
He has.
Didn't train through the week.
Yeah, I can't see many other changes. If he wants to take it reasonably seriously, just Kieran Trippier potentially come back into the team.
I thought Trippier came on and did a job today.
There was no Trippier love in the live. I'll be honest with you, there was a lot of criticism for Trippier, and I just didn't see it. I said to everyone,
today?
Yes. No, I didn't see the criticism. No. I didn't think it was deserved.
I mean, I thought the right side in general, in terms of Tino Livramento and Kieran Trippier, they didn't offer loads. But I thought Kieran Trippier came on and just kept things simple, linked play up. I thought he was fine. I thought Tino Livramento before that was similar. He got forward well, but then probably lacked that.
I didn't think he had a very good game, Livramento, today. Even though Newcastle won, I didn't think he had a great game. I think he couldn't really fault much else. I think one he used to said Fabian Schär needed that to do a game where he didn't have a whole lot to do, just to try and get that confidence back.
A few easier afternoons at St James's Park.
But Dan Burns outshone him this season, really, when you think about it.
Dan Burns' performance today makes Sven Botman's return like. Eddie Howe will have a decision to make. Naturally, Sven Botman, you'd imagine, would come in eventually, but might not be as seamless as people would have expected.
Yeah, let's just hope he doesn't. Lewis Hall isn't the casualty of that. That would be lunacy.
Yeah.
Really.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
No, that can't happen.
I know. It couldn't happen.
No,
it couldn't happen.
Lewis Hall is the left back.
Yeah, you'd like to think so. Yeah, so I think I don't really want to see him make many changes, to be honest. I want to see we take this seriously, take the cup seriously, get through the semi-final. Look, to win a competition is never going to be easy. This club hasn't done it very often. Since it hasn't done it at all since the 1960s and 50s and 60s. So it's not going to be easy, but if you look at the team left in that competition over two legs, it's going to be tough any semi-final. But the benefit of the two legs is that one of the games is going to be here at St James's Park, and you can imagine it'll be in January, the night under the lights here again. You can make it a fantastic place, as we remember, and many of you guys will remember as well. Going back to that last semi-final, the Southampton one, it was tremendous. The Leicester game previous to that was tremendous here. It was a great cup run. So fingers crossed they can do it, because I think it's the hope of that that's keeping things alive.
Yeah.
Newcastle, really, when you look at the league table, I mean, you can maybe flash a league table up now if anybody hasn't seen it. Okay. But the league table is.
A lot of clubs have had similar seasons, which I mean, I don't think you should necessarily compare Newcastle to other clubs and try and justify their results and their performances this season, because largely it has been inconsistent and not not good enough. Today, definitely a positive step in the right direction. What they needed, and the fact it is so close, works in their favour. But have to back it up at Brentford and then Ipswich after that. I think you're looking at these 3 games before Christmas. You needed 6 points in the Premier League and a Carabao Cup semi-final to show up with.
Yeah, 100%.
In my opinion.
I think they will. I think there's enough. I've seen Ipswich a few times this season. I think Newcastle can go there and score goals.
Good win for them today.
Yeah, it was, but I still think Newcastle can go there and score goals. I don't see anything that I massively fear there, but I probably would have said the same thing about Luton last season, and look how that went.
It feels the same. I felt this game was very much like the Fulham game this time last year, where there was a bit of pressure building after Champions League exit, losing heavily to Spurs, losing heavily to Everton, and it was like, right, first time there's been a bit of pressure on Newcastle United as a side, a bit of questions asked, and then they had a really easy, straightforward afternoon against Fulham, 1-3-0, down to 10 men. They were after about 20 minutes, but yeah. I think that mirrors that sort of. But then the next game, Newcastle went away to a newly promoted side in Luton, and then got beat. So it's about backing it up.
And that's what Eddie Howe said, didn't he?
Yes, yeah. I thought his post-match assessment was spot on. Put the onus on Newcastle to go and follow this up, and that's what they've got to do. I think one thing I give Eddie and the players credit for is when they spoke openly this week, they've all spoke of the inconsistency. So they recognise the issue that's been there this season, and it's good that by looks at they addressed it today. But you can't just address it by putting in one good performance. It's got to be a series of performances, and yeah, that's the challenge this week. I think they'll follow it up against Brentford in midweek. I've got no doubt, and I hope this doesn't age badly, I've got no doubt they will progress against Brentford, because Newcastle and Eddie Howe do tend to get up for big games, and that is a big game because it's a chance to get the last 4 of the Carabao Cup again. And then it's the Ipswich game where it's probably the one where you look at it and go, is that another Brentford? Is that potentially a Crystal Palace? I know they drew there, but it was still dropping points and a very, very disappointing display. So I think the win on midweek, and then I think you're looking at Ipswich going, can they show that consistency?
Yeah, so I think it's very much the same. I think it's a game that Wednesday night has always felt since the draw was made. It's even if Newcastle had not won today, it's still Wednesday would still be the same. Yeah. It'd be like I can see that in a microcosm that they go and win that. We were at Brentford only 2 weeks ago, a week or so ago, sorry, and there was enough in that game to think that Newcastle should be able to score goals against them. Yeah. They're very dynamic in a forward respect. They create chances. They've got good movement, good players. Defensively, they're all over the shop. Yeah. And I would hope Newcastle could possibly put in a performance like this and do a similar job on Brentford. But you never know. Progression's all that matters. And then it's a roll of the dice beyond that. But I wanted to point on like the Eddie Howe stuff, because we've almost really analysed everything that Eddie Howe said in recent press conferences. So it's probably only right to go into one. Talk about the press conference, which was sat in this room, and he was sat in this very seat, talking to you guys. But you came out of that one, Dom, saying it felt rather uneventful. Yeah,
I've just, which is not necessarily a bad thing in some ways. It is for us, but it's probably a sign it's been a fairly routine win. In terms of what's your snap reaction line from Eddie Howe in Newcastle World or Shields Gazette, wasn't really one. I think I focused on something both Eddie Howe and Ruud van Nistelrooy highlighted, which was the set pieces won Newcastle the game. First 2 goals, set pieces, and that put Newcastle on the path to victory today. So yeah, an uneventful press conference, probably not a bad thing. And Eddie Howe, I thought, like Jordan said, spoke well. He spoke about how the build up to the game wasn't necessarily about laying into his players after a disappointing run of results and disappointing performances or performance against Brentford. He said it was one where the players needed the support. They needed just to work hard, get down to business, get their heads down on the training ground and focus. They focused on set pieces. Lewis Hall had trained individually on his delivery, and that paid off today.
Did.
So things like that, individually and collectively, the way they've worked have paid off, and I think deserve credit for it. But like we say, it's a one-off today. It's about carrying it on.
Right, so you see loads more of Geordie journals in the next few days. Of course, you got this video. Do like, comment, share, subscribe if you do. If you didn't see the live, which it was involved in a lot of you guys who might well be watching this, the comments, my opinions on your comments, loads of conversation going on there. It's great to see community building. There's, of course, the Geordie Journals community with Facebook, which have both got polls in them now for you to decide who you thought Newcastle United's player of the match was, and that'd be interesting to see what you thought, because I thought there was 4 or 5 contenders, and we couldn't fit them all in. Who did I said Lewis? Well, you didn't name yours. He said Byrne, I said Hall. Who you said?
Isak. I thought he was unplayable, although he missed a couple of decent chances. He took his goal well. I think what we've seen from Isak recently, where he's really returned to form since over the past couple of months, I think, and he's dropping deep, and I think he's been a real creative outlet for Newcastle. The way he drops deep, holds the ball up, and I think you sort of summed it up. It's a joy to watch a player playing for Newcastle United who makes the opposition look like a bunch of children.
Does, yeah.
That's what it looked
like.
Playing,
at times he made Vestergaard and others look like the primary school defenders.
Just like
they just didn't know what
the way he feints his body,
incredible.
His
shift of weight, yeah,
brilliant. So yeah, I'd say he was my pick today. But I thought, to a man, most players can leave today, well, all of them, because they won, but most players can be very, very pleased with the performance.
Do let me know what you think, of course, in the comments here on those different areas in the community and on the Facebook page, or if you want to get involved in the Facebook page, do send in a request. Of course, you can like, comment, share, subscribe on this video. There's also a little bell that you can click somewhere down here that means you get all your Geordie Journals videos. We do shorts, we do lives, we do everything. Everything in the YouTube book we do, and you can get it straight to the device that you watch this from. Probably not your TV, but definitely your phone or your iPad or whatever you watch this on. Of course, there is a shop down here. If you want to buy something, if you want a little Christmas treat, a t-shirt, a hoodie, a coaster, we've got some interesting... quick hint, can't we? We've got some interesting designs coming up.
Wait till they get off the ground, but yeah.
Yeah, no, it's on the way. We've got a very interesting... Would it be a mug? Do you think it'd be a mug?
Whatever people want. We'll see. We'll have it.
The design man's produced something, and it will be available in the Geordie Journals shop. So and it can potentially be customisable as well.
Yeah.
So do let. I know you don't want too much work, but if the people want it, you will deliver.
Demand's there.
Yes. So yeah, we might have some special Geordie Journals mugs coming on the way.
Be
next
patient is
week.
what I'd say, which is a clue, because you used to have to be very patient with this design.
You did for the page to tick over. Right, is that too much? Right, there's your hint anyway. Right, so there is all of that going on, of course. Eddie Howe will be doing a press conference on Monday, which you two guys will be at, so we'll have a
Tuesday.
Tuesday, so there'll be a Geordie Journals video on Tuesday from that press conference. Then of course we'll have another couple of videos on Wednesday, where we'll definitely one video. I'll not be doing me live on Wednesday night because I won't be here in this capacity. I will be up behind you guys trying to give you a wave like I always do from somewhere in the stadium, and we'll be on the phone half an hour. You still won't be able to see us. I'll be there with my kids and we'll be enjoying it from that perspective. Fingers crossed. Hopefully there's no tears. Hopefully there's some goals. Not unlike West Ham. The last time we were here I was in that capacity, but we will have a deep dive video possibly from this seat from these two guys as well, and then we roll straight down to Ipswich where the Geordie Journals will be there, of course, and we'll massively appreciate all of your support, everybody who's donated in the period that we've done this, everybody who watches, everybody who comments, everybody who likes and subscribes and everything else. It's been fantastic. We enjoy the journey. I hope you're enjoying the journey with us. Anything else to add before we go, lads?
I think a place to wrap up, which is it's difficult. We always try and say, I mean, as journalists, we used to learn 5 things every game. So what did we learn about Newcastle today? If anything, with it being a 4-0 win.
I said at the start, for me, it reminded me that they still have that in their locker. It reminded us that they can still do that. Alexander Isak maybe reminded us, but he has been for weeks now, reminded us of what he really can be, how good he can be. And I said, look, there was always 2 players that I said from the very start of this season, even when there was a lot of criticism when Bruno's way, a lot of criticism when Isak's way, and I've always said, like, nobody is outside of criticism. There should be people, you can criticise anybody, whether that be manager, owner, wherever, but realistically Primo was rise to the top and those 2 are the top. So they were always going to get better, and they are much better now. So that's kind of what the little things that I probably take away from it.
And Jordan, what have you learned?
Well, I think there'll be a lot of people watching this in anger at the fact that we maybe haven't mentioned Sandro Tonali, because there's a lot of reaction on social media. I've seen a lot of people praise his performance. I didn't think he was outstanding today, as some may suggest, but I think what you see there is you've got a midfield balance that is working, as we've got a new spectator in the room. That midfield three, I think Eddie Howe at his his post-match press conference said that he was excited about the midfield three, and I think Tonali has found a home in there, alongside Bruno pushing a bit further up and getting in the box, and that's how his goal came about. But even in the first half, he was getting in the box. Joe Linton was better today in terms of quality on the ball, always gives you aggression. So that midfield three, for me, I have learned that I think it's a one to persist with going forward.
Although the can't at Ipswich because Joe Linton's banned.
Yes.
But yes, good point, Jordan. And I think what I've learned, Tonali's place in the team brings out the best attacking qualities in Bruno. Past 2 games, Bruno has 2 assists and a goal. And another thing I've learned is if there's a better left back in the Premier League than Lewis Hall this season, I have not seen him. What a player.
Not Christiansen. And on that note, it's good night from the Geordie Journos.